Thanks for joining us today, Mark. Can you share a little bit about what you do on a day-to-day basis with technical analysis?
Sure, Ross. Thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here and talk with you. I use technicals daily to try to get a sense of a lot of the different sector rotation and the direction of equity indices, treasuries, currencies, commodities, and just try to keep on top of all of that, as difficult as it might be. And so in any given day, I want to do different screens. I want to find the stocks that are acting well versus stocks that are acting poorly. If anything is acting opposite to what the trend over the last few days has been, then I take note of that. But really on any given day, I immediately go to the sectors and see what's outperforming and what's underperforming, and typically I go to there.
Good, good. Is there a sector in particular you're watching for direction right now?
Well, I've sort of been fascinated by what utilities have done over the last couple months, because they outperformed all of last year and really in the month of January, but yet February was horrendous, and they obviously underperformed substantially. And so now, we've had about a 10 to 15% sell-off in the group, and there really isn't any substantial signs of interest rates and yields moving up. So I'm sort of wondering if this group is sort of near any sort of support where it could potentially turn higher at a time when stocks are approaching potentially a seasonally weak time of the year.
So you've been on both the buy side and the sell side, right?
That's correct. I've been in the business about 20 years, but I got my start back out in Chicago in the early 90s and was out there trading equity options on the floor at the CBOE, and then I moved out here in 2004 to New York City area, and I worked with Morgan Stanley for a bit, and 2 to 3 years there, and then I joined a hedge fund, Diamondback Capital Management, and worked for them for a few years as well, before my current firm, Gray Wolf Execution Partners, and we're located down at the New York Stock Exchange. And so we're an institutional broker, and we serve a lot of the people who I used to work for, being hedge funds and small institutions.
So talk to me about how you communicate with some of your clients. Is it close, direct, or is it through written publications?
I think it's a combination of both, and a lot of that depends on how the clients like to discuss the technicals at any given time. Some people only prefer phone calls, other people prefer just written material and not to be talked to at all. And so it's about really knowing your client. And so I tend to put out work at least a few times a week, or if anything happens that's out of the ordinary. So if you do have some above average volatility, sometimes that'll prompt a great time to make a phone call or to send out a piece. And so a lot of times it's just about tailoring your work to really what the client wants to see.
Very good, very good. So you've been around the MTA for a long time. How has the organization kind of transitioned over the years?
Yeah, I think it's great. I joined the MTA, I think, back in the late 90s, back in 97. That was right around the time when I was in Chicago. And in fact, you and I used to talk in a lot of our meetings in Chicago, and those were great times. But it's interesting because technical analysis has grown substantially, I think, in the last 15 to 20 years, and it's become a lot more accepted and embraced. And so we still have our battles and ways to go, but I think in general it's the MTA has been great in a lot of ways by adding a layer of discipline and structure to how people view technical analysis, which is really one of the key ways I think at which the discipline can grow going forward.
Absolutely. It's amazing to see the attendance this week, and the events have been so professional. It's really encouraging. So thanks again, Mark, for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at a symposium in the future.
Yeah, my pleasure, Ross. Thanks for having me.